Bannerlord has got me completely hooked. And to be honest, I'm not really a gaming person, so it's quite strange for me to spend so much time on this game. I love medieval history, so I tried Skyrim first of all, and I got probably hooked for it for about 3 months, then I got bored. But Bannerlord is just on a whole different level. The graphics are just extraordinary, the battle scenes just so breathtaking. Never really been into these games where it's just like one man battles the world. It's just no realism there, but Bannerlord, you build an army yourself, you lead it, and you also have followers that can also help command your different divisions. Bannerlord essentially is a game where you can complete all the quests and finish the game, which is essentially to build a banner and either take on the Empire or support the Empire. Or you can play it as a massive open-worlded sandbox game. So you start out as a poor sort of person with nothing other than yourself and your 2 siblings, because your parents... To cut a long story short, you start off at the bottom, you work your way into nobility, you form your own house, and you can either be part of a kingdom or you can start your own kingdom. Later on I'll be talking about how Fireaxis could improve this game, because there's quite a few things they could do. But first of all, I'm just going to take you on my personal journey. I started this game out as a mercenary for the Southern Empire. The Southern Empire was run by Empress Regia. Now she was a really strong lady, and she was under attack by the Asurai. The Asurai was sweeping through the whole map, destroying all of Calridia, looting and pillaging on the way. So I joined as a mercenary, and together we defeated the Asurai. The only person that we spared was the Banu Saran, and they were completely defeated. In the meantime though, the Kingdom of Sturgia, which is based on the Vikings, run by the warrior king Ragnarvad, was under severe attack from the Kuzuets, who basically was based on Genghis Khan. Now these nomadic people were destroying all of Sturgia, so I joined as a mercenary for Sturgia, and again we defeated the Kuzuet. Whilst we were fighting the Sturgians, my 2 favourite kingdoms, Britannia and Valandia, were hard at war, and unfortunately Britannia, which is based on the Celts, was defeated by the Valandians. The Valandians are based on the Normans. So what I did before Valandia completely defeated Britannia, I went over to Maranath, one of the remaining cities in Britannia, and I recruited 5 of their clans and started up a new kingdom which I put them in and called it Scotland. When Sturgia fell, we also took a ton of their noble households and we added them to Scotland, and we even created clans for the famous Robert the Bruce and William Wallace. But ultimately Britannia and Sturgia were defeated. "100 years later in the game, only 2 clans remain, and that's Valandia and the Southern Empire. Whilst those 2 kingdoms are fighting over Asurai territories, I started a new kingdom, which of course is England. We've got nearly 70 different households there, all based on original noble households from the time period, and that just leaves Scotland. So we are the final 4 clans left in the game, and that is my story really so far. The first improvement I think Fireaxis could make is the marriage system. So if you want to marry somebody in your family off that's 18 to somebody in another clan, the only option you get is to marry the oldest single person, and sometimes that person can be in their 70s or 80s. So it's something that really frustrates me, and I think it spoils the game, so that's the first thing that could change. The second thing that would be really good is if you could customise and craft your own armour. Fireaxis have done a brilliant job like making the smithing system, how you can make your weapons and stuff. But if you could customise like different clans' armour and design it and tweak it, that would just be so much fun. Number 3, I think it would be really cool if you could edit the towns. Not just change the name of it, but also cosmetically make improvements here, make improvements there, and just really see your town evolve and change. It would also be good if you had a feature where you could edit the names of different clan members from different clans, because what happens is when they get reborn, the same names just keep respawning over and over again. This next feature would be quite difficult to implement, but it would be an absolute game changer. I think if you could name each of your elite troopers individually, it would add so much of a more personal touch to the game, where you could just click on the trooper, they'd have a name, and also you could keep a record of their stats, and it would be interesting to see how they do each battle. This is quite a difficult thing to do, but I think it will be an interesting feature. What I'd like to see in Bannerlord is like a hierarchy amongst the noble houses. Like we in England have got dukes, earls, barons, and you get the picture. And I think in Bannerlord, if you could do that, award certain clans either dukedoms or earldoms, that would just really be a game changer. It will be good to see better diplomacy too, so things like alliances between different nations and factions, and also striking up a few trade deals, and maybe even have a trained diplomat. Number 6 for me would definitely be to add like a court life in the game. So when you think of watching the Tudors, you think of all the scandals that happened in court, all the different parties and all the different factions vying for political favour. Also, there's a lot of secret affairs that get uncovered, and also plots of treason, which ultimately lead to the ultimate punishment. Now what a feature that would be to the game. Number 7 would have to be a challenge to the throne. If you think about characters through history like Perkin Warbeck and characters like Richard Duke of York, all of them had a claim to the throne, and I think that would be a very interesting feature. This could lead to civil war or potentially a government being overthrown, and to add that to Bannerlord would throw all kinds of chaos into the works, and I think that would be a really fun feature. Number 8, I think religion would be interesting, and I know it's going to be controversial, but throughout history, throughout the ages, religion has dominated the world, and the ability to be able to have a different religion in a different culture and also appoint different religious leaders. This one's probably quite irrelevant, to be honest, but I thought, as well as having like towns and different cities in the game, it'd be great if there was just a few little manors and different estates scattered around the map that could be awarded to different clan leaders for services. Finally, number 10, I think what would improve the game if there was better interactions, not just like with your lords and your fellow clansmen, but also with villagers, and better storylines too, like when you're finding a wanderer or whatever, give them a different story occasionally. In conclusion, what I will say is Fireaxis have come up with an amazing game, and I know there's games like Crusader Kings, games like Civilization, games like Skyrim, but none of them have quite got that medieval feel like Bannerlord's got. So if you do like medieval games, get yourself out and get yourself down to the game or whatever, CEX, and buy a copy of Bannerlord, because it is an absolute fantastic game. Thanks for watching the video, and if you can think of any other improvements that need to be made to this game, then just comment below. Otherwise, it is a fantastic game.